Hey, what's up everyone, Eric here, and today I want to share with you my thoughts on designing cabinets that are facing different orientation and what to look out for. Um, so, excuse the messy garage setting here. I was just showing someone else how to design around their space, and with all of that set up here, I figured now might be a good time for me to just hit record and share with everyone else as well. So, what we have here is a couple of wall cabinets. These are mini cabinets that I happen to carry around in my truck, so you can see there's a little bit beat up there. Um, but a standard cabinet will be much larger than this. So rather than the 4-inch deep cabinet that you're seeing here, your standard wall cabinets will be 12 inches deep, and then your standard base cabinet would be 24 deep rather than just the 18 deep here that's shown. In terms of materials, I'm not going to go too much into detail, but we've got a texture melamine on the right and a painted cabinet in the middle, and that's a with white oak with stain on the left. So with that said, I do want to define a couple of terminology here. So we have what we call a finish end cabinet. So finish end just means that the end of the cabinet is finished. So this would be meant for a exposed side, for example, next to your window or next to your ventilation hood. Those cabinets are going to be finished the same way as it is in the front. So if it was a painted cabinet, it would be painted. If it was a wood stain, it would be stained on the side. So that would be a finished end. And here, I've got a little Velcro strip here to attach my sample. So an unfinished side would look like this. So this happens to be a particle board. So it's a fiber board with some sort of paper melamine on the front. And so that would be a unfinished side. If it was a plywood cabinet, if you're purchasing plywood cabinet boxes, then it would be a clear plywood, usually maple or birch. So where would you use that? An unfinished side is usually where you have two cabinets meeting up against each other. Literally, no one's ever going to see it once it's installed. So no sense to spend the time and energy to go and paint and stain the material. The backs of the cabinet, for example, so like the back edge of the panel, be it particle board or plywood, the back of the cabinet box, again, no one's ever going to see it, so those would be unfinished. So with that terminology explained, I want to get into the actual design now. So let's say you're at the end of a cabinet run and you have all of these 12-inch deep cabinets, so pretend that this is actually all the way deep here. And you have this whole run of cabinets that are 12 inches deep, and at the very end you just have one cabinet that you want to face, I don't know, towards your overhang, your bar, your seating, whatever. And you just want one cabinet that's facing in a different direction. So rather than ordering a 12-inch wide cabinet, and realistically, you probably have it a little bit shorter at this end, because if this was going to be a wall here, and you would need some rotational clearance for this door to open, so you probably order this an inch shorter, or have it designed an inch shorter from us. But it would. But what I'm trying to say is, rather than having this cabinet just be ordered as a painted or a finished end and have it lined up to the depth of the cabinet there, I would rather order a side panel to cover it. So how do I mean by that? So if we were to just paint this side here, you would have the door and then you would have a little recess there, and I don't think that looks very good. Now, of course, you could order the cabinet a little bit wider or have it installed farther to the left, like this, and have it installed this way, and then paint this or finish the side of this cabinet. But I would think what looks better would be actually to have a end panel applied on. And the reason for that is, you see this little gap here? We usually install under cabinet lights by raising the floor of the cabinet by 1.5 inches. So when you open the door, you would have a little light bar behind it, and then you can hide your under cabinet lights here. If you haven't seen how we implement under cabinet lights, I'll put a link in the description below. but this little hole here, this little recess is where we can hide some lights. So if we went ahead and just made this cabinet wider to be flush of this door right here, then you have a little gap there. Bringing this back in, so having this flush there to the cabinet box, and then apply a finished side. Sorry, I'm trying to do all of this one-handed because I don't have help with the camera here. I think this makes for a much better look. So let's go over the details here. A 4-inch deep cabinet box with a 3/4 inch thick door. Now the hinges and the door bumper is going to push out the door another 1/8 of an inch. So what I like to do in a typical end panel situation is to order this 7/8 of an inch deep so that the end panel would be flush with the door, and I think that creates a pretty good look. Let me take a step back here and you can see all of that. So I think that creates a very neat and tidy look. How this changes, however, when we have this butted up against another wall cabinet on the side, or behind it rather, with a 90-degree rotation, is that this little gap here becomes really tight, and sometimes when you operate the door, when you open and close, it might just rub a little bit, and that's a little too tight for my liking. Not to mention consistencies and all that. So what I mean by consistency, so in a typical 13-inch wide cabinet, so from here to here, 13 inches width, our door would be 12 and 7/8 inch wide. So that gives us 1/16 of an inch on the left and 1/16 of an inch reveal on the right. And when you butt that up with the next cabinet, that's let's say we also have another 13-inch wide cabinet over here and it's facing the same orientation, then you have again a 12 and 7/8 inch door in the middle, on the right, and then you have a 16-inch reveal on the right side and a 16-inch reveal on the left side. Together, you create an 1/8 of an inch reveal in the middle. So in thinking about that and applying the same logic there, I would make this panel, rather than 7/8 of an inch wide, I would go ahead and shorten it by a 1/16 of an inch. So that would give us 13/16 of an inch. I have no idea why we don't do this in centimeters, but yeah, I digress, different story there. But yeah, so this panel ends up being 13/16 of an inch, and we would get that installed on site to be flush in the front, therefore creating an 1/8 of an inch reveal there, and it would look consistent and neat all the way around. And this will also help, this panel will also help hide our little recess cavity for the under cabinet lights. So that's what I want to point out for today's video. Okay, if you have any questions, please leave a comment below. And yes, in case it wasn't obvious, this was a demo with frameless cabinet boxes. So this is not a face frame construction. This is a frameless cabinet box. Okay, thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.